That was quick. Guys, my name is Gavin Olson, and just after my last video, somebody came out and made a full wave defense horde mode style map for Half-Life Alyx. In other words, not only is this the first fully functioning mod slash game mode that's been inserted into Half-Life Alyx, but the modder behind it also got the nav mesh to work, which is something that modders have been trying to make happen since the game came out nearly 2 weeks ago. And thankfully the man himself is here to give us a little insight on how he made this happen, what his inspiration was, and where he thinks VR modding is going in general. Alright Manello, thanks for joining me today, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, hello.
Hope you're having a good one. Hope you're safe over there. So this is your first time modding in Source, right?
Yeah, that's my first mod I've been done in Source.
And that being said, it's the first fully functioning Half-Life mod slash game mode thing in general. Where's your experience from? How can you do this? Where's the magic coming from?
Well, the magic, it's not like a general modding experience, I would say. It's more of I'm trying to find all the exploits and hacks I can use.
And you're on a VR esports team too, correct?
Yes, I've been playing for Team Gravity for over a year now, and yeah, I've been playing Space Junkies and Final Assault in competitive tournaments before. Space Junkies, we went to the World Championships in London and scored third. And in Final Assault, I scored the second place. Yeah, basically since I discovered VR 2 years ago, I'm only playing VR since then. No Pancakes games anymore.
And then going back into the Half-Life Alyx mod, so obviously this concept is kind of a dream concept that people, when they're playing Half-Life Alyx, were trying to say, well, you know what would be great is a horde mode type mode. So when did you start working on this, and how many hours would you say you've sunk into it?
Oof, well, I basically started on the second day after the release working on this mod.
So you started working on this 2 days after release of Half-Life Alyx. So that was at a point where you were going in blind. There was no guides or anything yet, right?
Basically, there was no information available yet. And to be honest, I haven't even finished the game at this point. I was just so curious about modding. And yeah.
You haven't got it spoiled, right?
Yeah, I got spoiled quite a lot, but it didn't ruin my game experience, so it was fine.
I kind of had a really similar experience where I was starting going down the modding rabbit hole, and to get that FGD library working, you kind of have to break your Half-Life Alyx files. So I did go back into the campaign, and I was like, oh no, I have to finish this now before I break all my game files. So Horde map is a great start. Where do you go from here? Are you going to add on to the mode more? Are you going to make more maps? What's on your mind?
Well, for the next week or two, I will continue working on this mod and fixing all the bugs and adding to it. I'm even looking into adding multiplayer support soon.
So this might get a little technical, but one of the most impressive things about your map is you somehow got nav meshes working. Everybody I've been talking to has been working on that literally since day one. Again, this might get a little technical, but how exactly did you make that happen?
Fury, you can generate nav meshes from the console. But people have been complaining that they also don't work. But for me, they do work sometimes. So I'm just basically going into console and just bashing in commands and trying to get it work. And once it works, I just save the nav mesh so I can reuse it. That's basically how we go.
So instead of building the nav mesh in like the Steam VR hammer editor like you normally would while making a map, you did it in-game in console?
Yep.
Brilliant. How'd you figure that out? How many hours of pulling your hair out did that take?
Actually, it was like only an hour or two. I basically discovered it on accident by just trying to get the headcrabs walking again, because on my very first map, the nav mesh was actually working. And so I was curious why it didn't on the second map, so I was just experimenting with all the commands I had on the console.
I know I speak for a lot of people, and I know I would love a guide for this. Do you think you're going to put a guide somewhere online?
I would like to, but it's not really that reproducible. So yeah, I might do it in like a week or so.
Again, you're the only one. You're the only one that's gotten it to work. I think the key is just to go in game and do the consoles. I just think everybody was staying in Steam VR Workshop and didn't think to go in game.
Yeah, I mean, today I know it's a rare feature for my maps, to call it like that. But back then, like in the first days, I haven't had contact to any other developers, so I had no idea really how important that stuff is.
Just going back to your workflow, so you're doing this by yourself. Nobody was helping you, correct? One-man team?
Yep, it's a one-man team here.
And what's your rig looking like at home? I'm assuming NVIDIA card?
Yeah, a 1080 NVIDIA card, and the CPU is a very old, the 4th generation i5, so could need a upgrade on that. But Half-Life is still running on very high settings smoothly, so still doing a good job.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Source 2 is GPU intensive. That's good to know. Wow, Gen 4 i5. That's awesome, man. Your map kind of shows that people can create complex mods in Steam VR right now without any sort of official Hammer editor from Valve. Do you think others are going to follow soon? And if so, what would you be excited to see other people make?
I would expect a lot of people trying to follow this to implement their own mechanics in the game. But to say it's really not an easy thing, as many things don't work as expected. I mean, what's anyways working as expected with our homemade SDKs there.
And then, so everybody is patiently waiting right now for Valve to release their own Hammer editor as they kind of advertised before the game came out. Is there any features in that you think would just be incredibly useful that you're having trouble with now?
Basically, that's every second feature. So right now, basically every second feature is bugged and somehow not working. But most importantly, lighting, a fixed lighting would help a lot, as well as working nav meshes, of course.
To go back to your Horde mode, to wrap everything up here, I know you've created a method for other people to create their own maps, kind of user-generated content. Do you plan on providing ongoing support for that, or are you going to move on to the next project?
I want to provide support for my project as long as possible, and I would like to see as many maps made as possible. So yeah, if you're a mapper and want to create your own map, just hit me up if you have problems with it, or if you're asking about a specific feature.
Manello, thank you so much for joining me today. Where can the people follow you? Do you have a Twitter account or anything like that?
You can follow me on Twitter under ManelloMB. I will post every important update on my Half-Life Alyx mods there. As well, you might want to check out GitHub if you want to download the test map.
And hopefully on your Twitter we can see some sick highlights of your VR esports career too, right?
Oh yeah, sure. If you dig through the past posts, you will find plenty of them.
Awesome, Manello. I know it's late over there, so I hope you get some rest. Thank you again for joining me today. I really appreciate it.